Hello my friends, this is Jenny. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. In this video, my friends, I am going to share with you my process for making painted folders. What I use are dilution paints, stencils, usually distressed products, inks to make these painted folders. Today I made a few, so I thought I would share them with you, and then we can make one together. You see the shimmer? Now that I have distressed spritz, I am adding that to my painted folders, and I'm loving it. Can you see? I sprayed the distressed spritz through a stencil, and you can see it. It's beautiful. So these are fun. They can be covers for journals, covers for signatures in a journal. You can cut them up to make all kinds of fun things, tags, pockets, belly bands. I like using file folders to make these because it's a nice weight. It's a perfect weight. Better than copy paper, not as thick as cardstock. It's also easy to sew if that's something you choose to do. So let me share with you what I used in this case to make these. So for the paint, I use what I call whatever paints. These are some very old paints. These are dilutions paints. I got them way back, way back when they were in these huge pots. I've had them for so long that they are starting to dry out. Weird things are happening to the texture of the paint, so I am desperately trying to use them before they are all lost. Quite a few of them already were too far gone to be used. I had to toss them, but I still have plenty colors left that can make some fun projects. For this folder today, this last one I'm making, I'm going to focus primarily on purples and pinks. I have some distressed spritz here. I think I am going to stick with these three colors. Picked raspberry, that's the color of the mica in this spray. Then we have wilted violet. The mica in this is very purple, of course. And then we have squeezed lemonade, and the mica in this one is a very pretty yellow. So the best tip I got from watching Tim Holtz videos is focus on the color of the mica. When deciding what color you want to use, just flip them over. The mica's usually settled at the bottom, and just go on that. So that's how I pick my colors, because that's really what you're going to see, is that mica reflecting in your project. I also have some inks. I have my Winsor & Newton inks. I have my black and my white. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. It really depends on how the project goes. And then I have a large stencil. This is also a dilution stencil. Look at my hands. Oh my gosh. This is also a dilution stencil. I don't know the name of it, my friends, but if you just do a search for dilution stencils, you, I'm sure, will come across it. In terms of the file folders, I have tons of these Amazon folders simply because I use them a lot for my Girl Scouts. So I did buy them in bulk many years ago, and I'm still working through my stash of these file folders. You can use whatever you have. You can pick up file folders at the Dollar Tree, and those I'm sure will work just fine. I also have, in terms of tools, I have a brayer. Here's my brayer. I have a spatula, and I have some sponges. These are just some triangles that I cut from an old cheapy sponge that I had lying around my kitchen. And then, of course, I have my splatter brush down the road for some splatter. And I have some foam stamps here at the side, all kinds of different shapes, numbers, you name it. And I'll decide what I want to use once I get past the painting phase. So this is a messy project, my friends. If you don't like mess, my method's not going to work for you because I make a mess. I do. That's just the way of it. So I'm going to grab a paper towel here, put this here, and just go and see what happens. I think I want to start off with this really bright pink. So this is what I mean about these paints. They are so old that they are actually, the texture of the paint is changing. It's becoming a little more solid, congealed maybe is a good word. And I'm sad that it's happening, but it's nobody's fault but my own, because I wasn't using them. If you don't use things and you let them sit around, guess what? They expire. It's what happens. So can't be mad about that. Lesson learned. Also learn that these big pots are probably not the ideal storage for paints because they do tend to dry out once you open it. So I just took some of that paint, added it to my brayer, and I am just going to just have at it, have fun. This is really stress-free. At least it is for me. This is what I do when I'm not sure what project I want to work on next, or when I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with work and whatnot. I just try to pick up and do something really mindless in my craft room as an outlet, and this works. The only thing is, like I said, it's messy. Or it is, at least for me. So I'm going to work from, I think, light colors to, no, I don't know. I'm just gonna work with whatever. Sometimes I do light to dark. Other times I do dark to light. Sometimes I just mix it all up. It doesn't matter. So you do you. At the end of the day, guess what? It's just paper. If you don't like it, you toss it. It's not a big deal. So there's no added pressure in that sense. So I think what I want to do is now grab some of this. What is this? Funky Fuchsia. This was bubblegum pink. Let's do Funky Fuchsia. And let me see how this is separating. And I used that not too long ago, and it's just super it's doing what it wants to do. Can't be mad about that. So I think this time what I will do, try to mix this in the pot a little bit. And again, just use whatever paints you have. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to use up some old paints in your craft room now that you see what's happening to me. Use your supplies. Don't let them expire. I would like this to be more on the pink side, I think, because I already have one that's already on the purple. So I'm going to be careful not to add too much purple. I'm also going to give this a quick blast. Dry it a little bit so I can layer and not have all of this paint mix. I like the way it's looking so far. So at this point, I just want to be careful not to over mix. That's usually where things start going wrong for me, where I just overwork the paint. So let's go back in with more of this bubblegum pink. Try to work some around the edges, and this time I'm just going to use my spatula just to add some of this paint. Now you see why this gets messy, right? And later I will come in with that sponge to catch the edges that I can't with my my brayer. I'm working on a glass mat, which is also helpful for cleanup. So I'm wanting to bring back some of that pink. I took away too much of the purple, so I'm gonna go back in with some purple. It's really a back and forth. I don't care if it's like chunky when I add this purple on top, if it's more like blobs, because I will smooth it out with my brayer. So I think, yeah, good. This will be the final wave or layer of paint. And now I am going to go in with this sponge and cover up the edges. Where my brayer didn't get it. Also can kind of smooth out any areas, move the paint a little bit more. Decide if I like it or don't like it. I'm gonna try some of this light pink. I might instantly regret this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Let's use the sponge for this. You also have to trust the process because it does go through phases. There is the hideous, ugly, oh my God, what is that phase? And you just have to, don't freak your freak, my friends. Don't freak your freak. Okay, I like that a lot. Don't freak your freak. Okay? We're done with the paint. So, I'm going to put the brayer down before I do something I'm going to regret, and paint and dry this. We are back, my friends. This folder is still wet, not super wet, but still wet. And I did manage to contaminate and get some yellow on here while I was cleaning up my desk. So it is what it is. The next step for me, ideally I want this to be completely dry, but I have no patience for that. So I'm going to grab my stencil and use my spray. And in this case, I'm using Distress Spritz. The color is Wilted Violet. And like I said earlier in the video, the best advice from Tim Holtz, a video I watched where he demoed the sprays, is that when he's selecting a color, he just looks at the color of the mica. That's going to be the indicator of what the color in the bottle is going to look like. That is what you're going to see. When you spray, it is the mica that is going to give you that shiny, beautiful look. So I think this purple will work nicely here. And I'm just going to spray and move at the same time. I'm not going to sit in any one spot and spray a bunch, because then it'll pull and just go under the stencil, and that's certainly not the effect I want. And another thing I learned in watching Tim demo these is that a little goes a long way. If you want the mica to stick to your project, then don't flood the page with the spray. It's called spritz for a reason. That's what he said. So I think the man might know a little something about the product, considering he developed it. So now I'm going to take my heat tool again and dry this, and then move on to the next step, which will be stamping or mark making. If you enjoy mark making, then you don't need stamps. I use stamps, and more specifically my foam stamps, to create additional marks and interests on the page. Well, on the folder, right? So you can see the purple just shows up beautifully here. You'll see it better once it's dried and I get to move the folder a little bit. And what I think I am also going to do is take some of this squeeze lemonade, put the mica in this. It is absolutely stunning. I'm going to add a little bit of this, not a whole lot. Give this a good shake, and just a couple of quick spritz, nothing crazy. Okay, so in terms of stamps, I have my foam stamps. I have a bunch here off to the side. I really like this one. This is a new one. I shared that one recently in a haul video. I don't know if that video is already posted by the time this one posts, but if it is, then you will know that is a foam stamp that I purchased from Joggles. I also have these circles that I think I want to use as well. So I'm going to start with the polka dots or bubbles, and the color I want to use is my Picket Fence ink. It doesn't have to be super vibrant in this case. I kind of like that it's a little faded. I want to add some interest, but I still want to keep it a background. I don't want it to be the focal point of the page. So flip this over. do some second generation stamping there. Just do whatever you want. There's no real rule. I guess the only rule is don't stress it. Now I'm going to use these swirlies. Yeah, let's do that. And this one I will do with my archival or my stays on. Let's use the stays on jet black. Doesn't need to be perfect. There you go. Good enough. So now it's just about layering patterns, layering different points of interest. Like, do what is visually pleasing for you. I don't have a rule in terms of how many layers, how many colors. I just go until I'm happy with the way that it looks. That's all you can do. That works. I think that and some splatter works for me. I'm gonna set this, heat set this again before I add my splatter. For my splatter, I'm going to use my fan brush, my good old favorite splatter brush, my Winsor & Newton ink, color white. Give that a good shake in there. I'm going to be a little heavy-handed. I do want some thicker splatter mixed in with some of the fine splatter. So guess what I'm going to do now, my friends? I'm going to heat set this and then step back and take a look at it and decide if it needs anything else. This is dry. Looking at it, I am very, very happy with the way this turned out. Can you see the spritz through the stencil, creating those teardrops or water drops? Beautiful. I think the splatter is perfect. I love the colors. I've been enjoying these super bright, vibrant projects lately. I think partly because lately I've been so inspired by art by Marlene, and most of her products are these same bold brights, and I'm loving it. So that is my finished project, my friends. That is how I make my painted folders. Today's session was so much fun. I ended up making 1, 2, 6, 7 folders. It's a lot of paper here for lots of projects. Let me know which is your favorite. Is this something that you will try? Are you like me? You have supplies sitting in your room that are about to expire or go bad. If that's the case, then pull them out and get to making something with them. It doesn't matter what it is, even if you just take the paint and throw it on paper, just coloring the paper in solid blocks, at least you would have used your paint, right? The alternative is that it gets trashed, and what a complete and total waste if that's the case. I've already lost half my paints because of that, and I'm certainly trying to avoid losing the other half. So that's my share, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate you, and I will catch you all in my next video, my friends. Until next time, bye bye.